Those who have joined the class, I will request them to give their attendance in the chat box. I repeat, those who have joined the class, please give your attendance in the chat box. We will wait for 1 more minute and then we will start the class by 3 p.m. Okay, it is now 3 p.m. Let us start the class. Let me present my screen first. Can anyone say whether my slides are visible to you or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, fine. So let us start the class. Before starting the class, let me give you a brief recap of what we have covered in the last class. In the last class, we have started our discussion on distortion energy theory of failure. We have I have given you the statement of the distortion energy theory of failure, and we have also derived one equation for this distortion energy theory of failure, and by the use of that equation we can find out the dimensions of the component if any component is failing by this distortion energy theory of failure. In today's class, we will be comparing all the three theories of failures that we have discussed so far in a single sigma 1 versus sigma 2 plot. After that, we will be solving the numericals related to this different theories of failure. So let us start today's topic. That is, the first topic is comparison of different theory of failure. Here what I am doing is I am taking that common sigma 1 versus sigma 2 graph. If you remember, we have drawn the safety region for normal stress theory, which was nothing but a rectangle. We have drawn the safety region for maximum shear stress theory, which was nothing but a hexagon. We have also drawn the safety region for distortion energy theory of failure, which was nothing but this ellipse. Now what we are doing is we are combining all the three diagrams in a single sigma 1 versus sigma 2 plot. So x-axis is your sigma 1 and y-axis is your sigma 2. That is the principal stresses acting in a two-dimensional component. We know that if the component is made up of ductile material, then the failure criteria will be the yield points. That means maximum value of sigma 1 and sigma 2 in positive as well as in negative direction will be plus SYT and minus SYT. Similarly, if the component is made up of brittle material, then the maximum value of sigma 1 and sigma 2 will be what? It will be ultimate point, because we know that brittle material fails at the ultimate point. So this value will become SUT in plus x-axis minus SUT along minus x-axis. Similarly, plus SUT in plus y-axis and minus SUT in minus y-axis. And also we have assumed that yield strength or ultimate strength in tension is equal to yield strength or ultimate strength in compression. That means SYT will be equal to minus times of SYT, or this plus SYT along y-axis will be equal to minus times of SYT. That means magnitude will be same but the directions will be opposite. If that is the case, then let us draw all the three different theories of failure on this common sigma 1 versus sigma 2 plot. Let us plot it. Wait. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay, fine. So let us draw. Say this is my sigma 2 along y-axis, and this is my sigma 1 along x-axis. I have told you that whether if the material is ductile in nature, then the maximum value of sigma 1 and sigma 2 is how much? It can be either plus SYT along plus x-axis or minus SYT along minus x and minus y-axis. So I am assuming that the material which I am finding out the failure of that material is both ductile as well as brittle in nature. That means this value is SYT or SUT if the material is brittle. Same value along my x-axis minus x-axis will be minus SYT. This plus SYT is equal to minus SYT, that is yield strength in tension is equal to negative times of yield strength in compression. If that is the case, then for sigma 1 along positive x-axis, the equation of line will be this one, parallel to y-axis. For minus x-axis, the equation of line sigma 1 will be this one. Again, it is parallel to y-axis. Similarly, for sigma 2, say this is plus SYT, and along minus direction this is your minus SYT, and this plus SYT is equal to minus SYT because we have assumed during the entire theory of failure that yield strength in tension is equal to minus times
Yield
the
strength in
yield strength in
compression.
compression. So if I want to draw the graph for sigma 2 along positive y-axis, it will be parallel to x-axis, and for minus y-axis again it will be parallel to x-axis. Now if you see, this graph is what? This graph is nothing but the safety region for principal stress theory of failure. Safety region for principal stress theory of failure. Let us denote it by A, B, C, D. If on the same sigma 1 versus sigma 2 graph, if I want to plot the maximum shear stress theory of failure, what will be the difference? Difference will be along in the second as well as in the fourth quadrant, there will be a straight line, and that straight line will pass from plus SYT in sigma 2 axis to minus SYT in sigma 1 axis. That means I have to join it like this. In first quadrant as well as in third quadrant, the graph is same. There is no change. Only change in the second and the fourth quadrant, if you remember. Is it clear? Is it clear? Now I can say that, say this is A dash, this is B dash, now C dash, D dash, E dash, and this is say F dash. A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash, E dash, F dash is nothing but the safety region for for shear stress theory of failure. And on this same plot, if I want to represent the safety region for distortion energy theory of failure, how I will represent it will be by I will represent that distortion energy theory of failure by ellipse, because the equation which which we have derived in the last class, that equation was of ellipse, so that curve will follow an elliptical path, and that will be like this. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
No, sir.
ठीक है, ये हमने लास्ट क्लास में भी पढ़ा है। देखो मैंने यहाँ पे क्या किया, मैंने सिग्मा 1 और सिग्मा 2 पे ही तीनों थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर को प्लॉट किया। मैक्सिमम प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेस थ्योरी एक रेक्टेंगल का शेप बनता है, मुझे पता है। मैक्सिमम शियर स्ट्रेस थ्योरी हेक्सागोनल शेप बनता है, और जो मैक्सिमम डिस्टॉर्शन एनर्जी थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर है वो क्या बनता है, दैट इज योर इलिप्टिकल शेप. This is your elliptical shape. Fine. Now we need to compare these three theory of failure on this common sigma 1 versus sigma 2 plot. How we will compare? The first comparison is the use of material. If you are finding out the failure of any component, first of all you have to identify that component is made up of which material, whether it is made up of ductile material or it is made up of brittle material. And we know from the experiments that if the material is brittle in nature, then maximum principal stress theory gives the failure criteria of that particular material. And if the material is brittle in, if the component is brittle in ductile in nature, then again from experiments it has been proved that distortion energy theory of failure as well as shear stress theory of failure gives the failure criteria of that particular component. That means पहला कंपैरिजन ये हुआ कि अगर मटेरियल ब्रिटल, अगर कंपोनेंट ब्रिटल मटेरियल का बना हुआ है, तो तीनों थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर में से मैक्सिमम प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेस थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर हमें यूज करना पड़ेगा। उस कंपोनेंट को, वो कंपोनेंट कैसे फेल होगा वो बताएगा आपका मैक्सिमम प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेस थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर। लेकिन अगर कोई भी कंपोनेंट डक्टाइल मटेरियल का बना हुआ है, तब उस कंपोनेंट का फेलियर कौन बताएगा? मैक्सिमम शियर स्ट्रेस थ्योरी भी बोल सकता है एज वेल एज डिस्टॉर्शन एनर्जी थ्योरी भी बोल सकता है। दिस इज फर्स्ट कंपैरिजन। सेकंड कंपैरिजन, अगर आप फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट में देखो, इन फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट बोथ सिग्मा 1 एंड सिग्मा 2 इज पॉजिटिव, तो क्या आप मुझे ग्राफ देख के बोल सकते हो दैट व्हिच थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर विल बी मोस्ट सुटेबल टू प्रेडिक्ट द फेलियर ऑफ डक्टाइल मटेरियल्स?
सर शेयर या डिस्टॉर्शन वाला ही तो होगा सर।
मैं जानता हूं कि अगर कोई भी मटेरियल, अगर इफ एनी कंपोनेंट इज मेड अप ऑफ डक्टाइल मटेरियल, इट कैन आइदर फेल बाय शियर, maximum shear stress theory, or by distortion energy theory. That means this maximum principal stress theory, that means this particular rectangle region is of no use for me if the material is ductile in nature. Now you have to decide as a designer that which theory of failure you will use, whether you have to use the shear stress theory, that means this much portion, or you have to use the distortion energy theory, that means this much portion, to predict the failure of that particular component which is made up of ductile material. अब आप बोलो, अब आपके पास दो ऑप्शन बचा, एक बचा शियर स्ट्रेस थ्योरी, दूसरा बचा डिस्टॉर्शन एनर्जी थ्योरी। अब दोनों में से कौन सा थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर सबसे अच्छा होगा किसी भी कंपोनेंट, मतलब किसी भी कंपोनेंट को के फेलियर को प्रेडिक्ट करने के लिए, अगर वो डक्टाइल मटेरियल का बना हुआ है तो? शियर और डिस्टॉर्शन एनर्जी थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर में से कौन सा थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर मैं यूज करूंगा?
হ্যালো,
ডিসকানেক্ট হয়ে গেছে স্যার।
নেটওয়ার্ক ইস্যু।
ও পড়াশোনা অনেক মন দিচ্ছিলে মনে হয়।
রেকর্ড হচ্ছে।
কেমন আছিস?
রেকর্ড হচ্ছে ভাই।
ও
রাজু, বালিকার মিউট করে দিল আমাকে।
মিউট করলে কতক্ষণ থাকে?
বেশিক্ষণ থাকে না। অভিষেক মিউট করে দিল আমাকে।
আমি চেক করার জন্য তোকে মিউট করলাম।
অভিষেক আবার করে দিল। হ্যালো,
স্যার গ্রুপে মেসেজ পাঠিয়েছে, দেখলি?
না বল।
স্যার বলছে 2 মিনিট 3 মিনিট ওয়েট করতে, স্যার নেটওয়ার্ক প্রবলেম হচ্ছে।
আচ্ছা,
हेलो।
Yes, sir, you are audible.
अच्छा अच्छा, अरे कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो गया था, कनेक्शन अचानक से चले गया था। वेट,
Sir, attendance फिर से देना होगा क्या सर चैट बॉक्स में?
attendance, no, I am recording it, no need to give the attendance, but if you think you can give it again because एक बार connection
Okay,
out
sir.
हो गया, please एक बार दे दो
Okay.
इस
Okay,
attendance।
sir.
Okay, let me present my screen quickly। anyone recalls where we left? किसी को याद है हम
Sir,
लोग कहाँ से?
selection of theories मतलब ductile material के लिए कि कौन सा theory
Yes,
use
yes,
करेंगे?
yes।
Shear or
So
distortion?
yes. So if I see the first quadrant, in first quadrant, if the material is brittle in nature, then it is very much clear that always I have to use maximum principal stress theory. Whether any point, any coordinate point of sigma 1 and sigma 2 is lying in first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, or fourth quadrant. But the problem arises when we find out the failure criteria of ductile material, because if the material is ductile in nature, then two different failure criteria are available to us. That is, one is your maximum shear stress theory of failure and another one is distortion energy theory of failure. But if you see in the first quadrant, fine, can you tell me, out of maximum shear stress theory and distortion energy theory, which theory you will be more suitable to predict the failure of ductile material component?
Distortion.
Distortion. Yes, it is correct. Why distortion? Why not shear? Why distortion? Why not shear? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Why distortion? Why not shear? Because if you see, fine, say this is your particular sigma 1, some value of sigma 1, say 30, and this particular value is some value of sigma 2, again 30. That means this point is 30 comma 30. If you check now, this point, this particular point is within the safety region of shear stress theory of failure as well as within the safety region of maximum distortion energy theory of failure. That means this particular point is safe to both the theory of failure. But if you take this point, say this point is, that means this much value is sigma 1 is say 40, and this is some value of your sigma 2, that means this value is say 80. Now this particular point, if I will it be safe if I use shear stress theory of failure as a failure criteria? It won't be safe. Why? Because the point is going outside the safety region of shear stress theory of failure, but it is inside the safety region of distortion energy theory of failure. Similarly, this particular point can be over here also. If that same point is over here, then it is very much clear that this point is inside the safety region of distortion energy theory of failure, but outside the safety region of shear stress theory of failure. So in that case, I will not use shear stress theory of failure to find out the failure criteria for this particular component. Fine. So by this we come to know that, or we understood that, in first quadrant, if the material is ductile in nature, always I have to go for distortion energy theory of failure if nothing has been given to me about the problem. Is it clear? क्या ये बात समझ में आया कि
Yes,
फर्स्ट
sir.
क्वाड्रेंट में डिस्टॉर्शन एनर्जी थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर जो है वो आपको अच्छा रिजल्ट देगा, shear stress theory अच्छा रिजल्ट नहीं देगा. ठीक. Now अब हम बात करते हैं सेकंड क्वाड्रेंट में. In second quadrant, sigma 1 is negative, that is compressive in nature, and sigma 2 is positive. That means whatever I have told you about first quadrant, that is applicable for third quadrant also. होगा कि नहीं होगा? Hello.
यस सर,
That is
थर्ड
applicable
क्वाड्रेंट के लिए भी अवेलेबल होगा.
only. The thing is that sigma 1 is compressive, sigma 2 is compressive. Similarly, whatever now I will be talking about the second quadrant, that will be again valid for the fourth quadrant also, only the sign will change. Fine. So in second quadrant, again, if the component is made up of brittle material, I know that always I will use maximum principal stress theory to find out the failure criteria of that particular component. But if the component is made up of ductile material, again I am having two options. Either I can use maximum shear stress theory, or I can use maximum distortion energy theory. Now can you tell me, by looking at the diagram, which theory is best to predict the failure criteria, maximum shear stress or distortion energy theory, in second as well as in fourth quadrant? Hello. कौन सा थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर अच्छा है सेकेंड क्वाड्रेंट में एज वेल एज इन द फोर्थ क्वाड्रेंट? मैक्सिमम शियर स्ट्रेस थ्योरी और डिस्टॉर्शन एनर्जी थ्योरी?
सेकंड क्वाड्रेंट सर.
सेकेंड क्वाड्रेंट एज वेल एज इन फोर्थ क्वाड्रेंट. अगर मेरा मटेरियल डक्टाइल है तब मेरे पास दो ही ऑप्शन है. आइदर मैं यूज कर सकता हूं डिस्टॉर्शन एनर्जी थ्योरी, और एल्स आई कैन यूज maximum shear stress theory. So which theory will be most suitable to predict the failure criteria?
डिस्टॉर्शन सर.
Distortion, again the same concept. This is the region, this triangle is nothing but the region of safety in second quadrant. If any point of sigma 1 and sigma 2 is lying inside this triangle, or if it is lying on the edge of the triangle, that means that particular point is safe for maximum shear stress theory of failure. But if any particular point lies over here, that means at which point? At this particular point. Fine. Now can you use shear stress theory to predict the failure? You can't use. Why? Because region of safety for shear stress theory is only this much triangle, and your coordinate point of sigma 1 and sigma 2 is coming or is going out of the safety region of shear stress theory. Again, in that case, you have to use which theory? You have to use distortion energy theory, because in second quadrant this is the boundary of your distortion energy theory of failure. Same case will happen in fourth quadrant also. That means in altogether I can say that in most of the cases distortion energy theory of failure will give you the correct prediction of failure if you are interested in knowing the failure of a component made up of ductile material. And for brittle material there is no other option. Always you have to go for maximum principal stress theory of failure. So this is the overall comparison of three different theory of failure in a common sigma 1 versus sigma 2 plot. क्या क्लियर हुआ सबको?
यस सर.
Yes, sir.
बाकी लोगों को कोई डाउट किसी को?
नो सर.
कोई डाउट है किसी को? ओके. तो अगर एक मान लो एग्जाम में आता है कि कंपेयर डिफरेंट थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर ऑन अ सिंगल सिग्मा 1 वर्सेस सिग्मा 2 प्लॉट, सो यू हैव टू ड्रॉ द डायग्राम एंड क्वाड्रेंट बाय क्वाड्रेंट यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन. फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट में क्या हो रहा है, सेकंड क्वाड्रेंट में क्या हो रहा है. मतलब आप ऐसा भी लिख सकते हो कि फर्स्ट एंड थर्ड क्वाड्रेंट दोनों का आंसर आइडेंटिकल होगा. सिमिलरली सेकंड एंड फोर्थ क्वाड्रेंट दोनों का रिजल्ट आइडेंटिकल होगा, ओनली साइन चेंज होगा. तो लाइकवाइज यू कैन एक्सप्लेन. फाइन. So with this, we have completed the theoretical part as well as the derivation part, whatever is left in module number 2. Next is we will be solving some design problems related to this theory of failure. Let us solve the first problem. Let us read the problem first. A long straight tube 76 mm internal diameter and 2.5 mm thick is subjected to an internal pressure of 5.6 Newton per millimeter square. Consider it as a thin cylinder. If the tube is subjected to a twisting moment of 70 Newton meter, elastic limit stress is 282 Newton per millimeter square. Determine the factor of safety, that is FOS, on first one, maximum principal stress theory, second one, maximum shear stress theory, and third one, distortion energy theory. So how we will solve this problem? What is given in the problem? क्या दिया है प्रॉब्लम में? क्या दिया है प्रॉब्लम में? In question, it has been told to you that there is a long straight tube and that long straight tube is behaving like a thin cylinder. So let us draw it. So say this is my long straight tube. This is my long straight tube. 76 mm internal diameter. Since it is a thin cylinder, so there will be some external diameter as well as some internal diameter. That means this long straight tube can be like this. ऐसा हो सकता है long straight tube. Then this will be your internal diameter, small d, and this will be your external diameter, capital D. (76 mm) internal diameter, that means small d is given to you, that is 76 mm, and the thickness of the tube is 2.5 millimeter. Thickness means this distance is given to me. This is the thickness. Thickness is 2.5 millimeter. If this is T, this is small d. Can you tell me what will be the value of capital D? That is outer diameter.
Sir, D plus twice of T.
Yes, that is D plus this side small t plus this particular end small t. That is capital D is equal to D plus 2 times of T. क्या ये क्लियर हुआ सबको? क्या ये क्लियर है? कैपिटल D इक्वल टू D plus 2T कैसे आया? हेलो.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so small d is 76 mm and small t is 2.5 mm. So d plus 2t comes out to be 81 mm. What else is given to us? Internal pressure of 5.6 Newton per millimeter square. That means this particular tube is subjected to some internal pressure and that pressure is given to you, that is P is equal to 5.6 Newton per mm square. Okay. If the tube is subjected to a twisting moment of 70 Newton meter, twisting moment means this tube is subjected to torque. The tube is subjected to torque. This side as well as along this tube is subjected to torque. Fine, torsion. Torsion is also happening in the tube, and that torque value is given to be 70 Newton meter. Elastic limit stress is 282 Newton per millimeter square. Now, can you tell me this elastic limit stress is which value? SYT or SUT? इलास्टिक लिमिट स्ट्रेस कौन सा वैल्यू है? SYT है कि SUT है? Elastic limit stress is your SYT value or it is your SUT value?
SYT.
सर yielding है सर.
SYT yielding हो रहा है. Yes, elastic
Yes, sir.
means the tube is subjected to yielding. That means the tube is made up of ductile material, and if the material is ductile, then the maximum stress at which this tube will fail is your yield stress. So this elastic limit stress is nothing but your SYT. और अगर यहाँ पे लिखा रहता कि अल्टीमेट लिमिट स्ट्रेस तो क्या होता वो वैल्यू? अगर इलास्टिक की जगह अल्टीमेट लिखा होता तो अगर इस सेम क्वेश्चन में इलास्टिक की जगह अल्टीमेट लिखा होता तो क्या होता वो
SUT होता सर.
282. Now what 282 होता that would have been SUT. Correct, fine. What you need to find out? We need to find out the factor of safety first by using maximum principal stress theory, second by maximum shear stress theory, and third by distortion energy theory. Okay. Now, if you see in this particular tube, two things are happening. First thing is the tube is subjected to some internal pressure P, as well as the tube is subjected to torsion. Since it is a thin cylinder, we know that whenever a thin cylinder is subjected to any kind of internal pressure, then two type of normal stresses occurs in thin cylinder, and those two stresses are circumferential stress and longitudinal stress. और ये किसके वजह से होगा? ये होगा आपका ड्यू टू फ्लूइड प्रेशर P. जो फ्लूइड इस वेसल में भरा हुआ होगा उसके वजह से जो नॉर्मल स्ट्रेस जनरेट होगा इन दिस ट्यूब इज सर्कमफेरेंशियल स्ट्रेस एंड लॉन्गिट्यूडिनल स्ट्रेस. और ये जो इस ट्यूब पे जो आप एक्सटर्नली टॉर्क अप्लाई कर रहे हो इसके वजह से shear stress जनरेट होगा टाउ. दैट मींस दिस प्रॉब्लम इज अ प्रॉब्लम ऑफ कंबाइंड लोडिंग. कौन कौन सा कंबाइंड लोडिंग यहाँ पे आ रहा है? एक तो आपका नॉर्मल स्ट्रेस एज वेल एज आपका shear स्ट्रेस आ रहा है. तो दोनों को मिला के मुझे सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा कि इसका फैक्टर ऑफ सेफ्टी कितना होगा. क्या आया समझ में? सिग्मा C कहां से आया, सिग्मा L कहां से आया और टाउ कहां से आया? एनी डाउट?
No sir.
Okay, so we know that circumferential stress in thin cylinder is given by how much? PD by 2T. P is given, small d is given in the problem, T is also given in the problem. Put all the values and solve it. You will get the value of sigma C to be 85.12 Newton per millimeter square. Similarly, we have to calculate the value of longitudinal stress. That is how much? That is PD by 4T. Again, you substitute all the values in the equation of PD by 4T. You will get the value of sigma L. That is 42.56 Newton per millimeter square. Now, if you see in the problem, the problem is subjected to torsion also. If this tube is subjected to torsion, that means in this tube torsional stress is also acting. For that, how we will calculate? We have to use the torsion equation, and torsion equation is given by T by J equal to tau by R, which is equal to G into theta by L. Since I don't know anything about these values, that is G is not given in the problem, theta is also not given to you in the problem, L is also not given to you. So exclude this third term, take the first and the second term. T by J equal to tau by R, or tau is equal to T into R by J. T into R. Capital R is what? Capital R is nothing but capital D by 2. Capital D already we have calculated, that is 81 mm. So this will be 81 by 2 into T. T is given in the problem, that is 70 Newton meter. Fine. So 70 Newton meter divided by J. J is what? J is polar moment of inertia for this tube. Since this is coaxial tube, so polar moment of inertia will be J is equal to pi by 32 in bracket capital D to the power 4 for the outer diameter of the cube minus small d to the power 4 for the inner dia of the cube. Pi by 32 capital D to the power 4 minus small d to the power 4. Now you substitute the values of capital D, small d and t. You will get the value of tau, which comes out to be 2.981 Newton per millimeter square. Till tau, anyone is having any difficulty? How we have calculated tau, how we have calculated sigma c and sigma l? क्या किसी को कोई डाउट है यहाँ तक? Tau, sigma c and sigma l में? Hello.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, now I told you that this tube is subjected to two type of stresses. It is a problem of combined loading. One is the normal stress in the form of sigma c and sigma l, and another one is shear stress. Fine. So if I assume this particular tube to be an element, to be a small element, then I can say that on this element along x direction, this is sigma x, and this sigma x is nothing but your sigma c, circumferential stress. On this particular element on y direction, sigma y is acting, and this sigma y is again normal stress, which is nothing but your sigma l. So again, this is your sigma y, this is your sigma x, as well as this particular component of this particular tube is also subjected to shear stresses along all the planes. Shear stresses tau xy, tau xy. ठीक है? कोई डाउट यहां तक इस डायग्राम में?
No, sir.
Okay. So sigma x is my sigma c, sigma y is my sigma l, and tau xy or tau yx is nothing but tau, which we have already calculated. Now, if you want to find out the maximum value of principal stress as well as the minimum value of principal stress, which is nothing but sigma 1, sigma 2, and maximum shear stress tau max, you are having two methods. Either you use Mohr circle method to get the value of sigma 1 and sigma 2, or directly you use the formula. So here we will not go for Mohr circle method because it will require construction, it will take some time. So directly we can use the formula. We have the formula that maximum principal and minimum principal stress is given by sigma 1 comma 2 is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus minus under root x minus y by 2 whole square plus tau xy square. Since this is a two-dimensional component, so we are excluding the sigma 3 term. Fine. Here sigma x is nothing but sigma c, which is 85.12. Sigma y is nothing but sigma l, which is 42.56, and tau xy is nothing but tau, which is 2.981. When we will substitute all these values in this expression, we will get the value of sigma 1, that is maximum principal stress, as 85.32 Newton per millimeter square, and sigma 2, that is the minimum principal stress value, as 42.36 Newton per millimeter square. We can also calculate the value of maximum shear stress tau max. Either you use Mohr circle method or directly we have the formula, that is tau max is nothing but tau 1 2, because here 1 correspond to your x-axis and 2 correspond to your y-axis, which is how much? Tau 1 2 is maximum principal stress minus minimum principal stress by 2. Sigma 1 and sigma 2 already we have calculated. You divide it by 2, you will get the value of tau max. Or what you can do is that if you want to calculate tau max in terms of sigma x and sigma y, then this particular term under root of x minus y by 2 whole square plus tau xy square, this is also one of the formula to calculate the value of maximum shear stress. But in this formula, keep in mind that sigma x and sigma y is sigma c and sigma l. But if you are using this formula, sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2, the sigma 1 and sigma 2 is this value, which is obtained by substituting the values of x and y in this expression. So likewise, you will get sigma 1, sigma 2 and tau max. क्या यहां तक कोई डाउट किसी को? सिग्मा 1, सिग्मा 2 और टाउ मैक्स कैसे निकाला?
नो सर।
बाकी लोगों को कोई डाउट?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Next is very simple. First of all, I have to use maximum principal stress theory to find out the value of factor of safety. How I can use it? For that, you have to recall the definition of maximum principal stress theory. What is maximum principal stress theory? That theory states that failure of any component will occur when maximum principal stress is equal to either yield strength or ultimate strength of the material. So here you are having only two principal stress, one is sigma 1, another one is sigma 2, and we come to know that sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2. So this particular problem will fail according to this theory when sigma 1 is equal to either SYT or SUT. Since SUT is not given to me in this problem, so I won't use it. So it will be sigma 1 is equal to SYT. Since I have to find out the value of factor of safety, we know that factor of safety is what? Failure stress by allowable stress. Here, failure stress will be yield stress and allowable stress will be the principal stress. So sigma 1 is SYT by factor of safety, or factor of safety is SYT by sigma 1. SYT is 282 by sigma 1 is 85.32. So your factor of safety comes out to be 3.305. Clear hai? First answer.
यस सर।
फाइन, सिंपल। आपको बस थ्योरी याद रखना। अगर आपको थ्योरी का डेफिनेशन पता है, आप आराम से सॉल्व कर लोगे। Second is we need to find out factor of safety by maximum shear stress theory. अब maximum shear stress theory क्या बोलता है? Maximum shear stress theory ये बोलता है कि any component will fail when maximum shear stress of that particular component. Maximum shear stress for my component is which? This is the maximum shear stress for our component, and that is nothing but 21.48. So when maximum shear stress, that is 21.48, is equal to the value of maximum shear stress in UTM, and we have derived that formula that tau max is equal to SYT by 2 into factor of safety. If you remember, we have derived that tau max is equal to 0.5 times of SYT in theory of failure. I am using this particular formula. Yes, this formula हम लोगों ने ये derive किया था, that tau max is equal to 0.5 times of SYT. Fine. In this case, again we have to find out the value of factor of safety. So factor of safety is failure by allowable stress. Your failure stress will be nothing but this quantity, 0.5 times of SYT, and your allowable stress is always less than the failure stress, which is S of SY. That is maximum shear stress, tau max. So This is my tau max. Already we have calculated 21.48 is equal to SYT by 2 into factor of safety. SYT is 282 divided by 2 into factor of safety. So factor of safety comes out to be 6.56 if you use maximum shear stress theory of failure. क्या ये clear हुआ? Second वाला part.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Third and the last part is you have to find out the factor of safety by using distortion energy theory of failure. तो इसके लिए मुझे distortion energy theory of failure का statement याद रखना पड़ेगा. क्या बोलता है? That according to distortion energy theory of failure, any component will fail when maximum distortion strain energy of distortion per unit volume in that particular component becomes equal to maximum strain energy of distortion per unit volume in a standard specimen which is undergoing a UTM test. And we have derived one formula in case of maximum distortion energy theory of failure, that is this formula. If you won't consider the factor of safety, formula will be SYT is equal to under root half times of 1 minus 2 square plus 2 minus 3 square plus 3 minus 1 square, which is also the equation of 1 minus stress, which is also an elliptic equation. So in our case, sigma 3 is not given, so we will omit the value of sigma 3 and we have to add factor of safety also. If we add factor of safety, then in that case SYT is your failure stress and this particular term is your allowable stress. So our resulting equation becomes SYT by factor of safety equal to under root half times of 1 minus 2 square plus 2 minus 3 square plus sigma 3 minus sigma 1 whole square, where sigma 3 is 0, sigma 1 is the maximum principal stress which we have calculated 85.32, sigma 2 is the minimum principal stress which is 42.36. We will substitute in this expression SYT, already we know that is 282. We will get the value of factor of safety which is coming out to be 3.816. क्लियर है? कोई डाउट है किसी को?
No, sir.
ओके ओके ओके. बाकी लोगों को कोई डाउट इस क्वेश्चन में? इजी क्वेश्चन था. कोई डाउट है?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. I will take your 10 minutes extra, 10 to 15 minutes because बीच में वो फेलियर हो गया था, इसलिए मैं आपका 10 मिनट और लूंगा. एक और प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करेंगे, then I will make you leave. Clear? Okay. So
Yes,
let
sir.
us solve the second problem. This is your second problem. Let us read the problem. A cantilever beam of rectangular cross section is used to support a pulley as shown in the figure. Figure is given to you. This is a cantilever beam. The free end of the cantilever beam is connected to a pulley and the pulley is connected to this beam by a wire which exerts tension. The tension in the wire rope is 5 kilonewton. The tension in this wire rope is 5 kilonewton. Beam is made up of cast iron FG200. What is this value? FG200. It is written that the beam is made up of cast iron FG200. So what is 200? Whether it is SYT or it is SUT.
SUT.
200 is SUT. कैसे पता चला कि 200 SUT है?
Sir, brittle material.
कैसे पता चला कि ब्रिटल मटेरियल है? क्योंकि क्वेश्चन में बोला गया है कि द बीम इज मेड अप ऑफ कास्ट आयरन एंड आई नो दैट कास्ट आयरन इज ब्रिटल इन नेचर एंड द ग्रेड ऑफ कास्ट आयरन व्हिच हैज बीन यूज्ड टू मेक दिस पर्टिकुलर बीम इज FG200. और अगर आपको याद हो इन फर्स्ट मॉड्यूल मैंने आपको बताया था डेजिग्नेशन ऑफ मटेरियल, तो उस केस में FG इन के बाद जो न्यूमेरिक वैल्यू होता है वो होता है आपका अल्टीमेट स्ट्रेंथ. So indirectly in this question, ultimate strength is how much? 200 Newton per millimeter square. And FOS, that is factor of safety, is 2.5. Ratio of depth to width That means depth is d and width is w. D by w is given to you, that is 2. Determine the dimensions of the cross section of the beam. That means you need to find out what will be the value of this small d and what will be the width of this particular beam. Is it clear? And this pulley is kept at a distance of 1500 meter from the fixed end, and this vertical distance is 500 meter. One end of the pulley is subjected to a vertical force of this 5 kilonewton. You need to find out the dimensions of the beam. Dimensions of the beam means what will be the width of the beam and what will be the depth of the beam. इज द क्वेश्चन क्लियर? क्या क्वेश्चन क्लियर है? किसी को कोई डाउट है किस क्वेश्चन में समझने में?
नो सर।
ओके, अब हमको सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा। तो अब हम सॉल्व कैसे कर सकते हैं? क्या कोई आइडिया दे सकता है कुछ, कैसे सॉल्व करें अब इसको? कैसे सॉल्व करेंगे? कोई आइडिया किसी के पास? यहाँ पे तो ये भी नहीं बोला है कि आपका कौन सा थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर यूज करना है, कि यू नीड टू यूज योर डिस्टॉर्शन एनर्जी थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर और यू नीड टू यूज शियर स्ट्रेस थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर। तो अब तो मुश्किल हो गया। ब्रिटल, हाँ, यहाँ पे एक चीज बोल दिया है कि द मटेरियल, द बीम इज मेड अप ऑफ cast iron which is brittle material. That means indirectly ये बोल दिया गया है कि
प्रिंसिपल
स्ट्रेस थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर। फाइन, ओके। लेकिन अब हम सॉल्व कैसे करेंगे? उसके लिए सबसे पहले what I need to do is I need to draw the free body diagram of the problem. सबसे पहले मुझे तो ये पता करना पड़ेगा इस प्रॉब्लम में हो क्या रहा है। इस प्रॉब्लम में टॉर्शन हो रहा है कि इस प्रॉब्लम में बेंडिंग हो रहा है कि इस प्रॉब्लम में टेंसाइल स्ट्रेस क्रिएट हो रहा है या इस प्रॉब्लम में कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेस क्रिएट हो रहा है। सो लेट अस ड्रॉ द फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम ऑफ दिस प्रॉब्लम फर्स्ट। Okay, so this is your beam, cantilever beam. Fine, and at the free end, one pulley is there. At this end, one pulley is placed over here. If you see in the question, क्या क्वेश्चन में कहीं पे पुली का कहीं पे वेट दिया हुआ है? कुछ पुली का वेट कहीं पे कुछ दिया है? क्या क्वेश्चन में कहीं पर भी पुली का वेट दिया हुआ है? हेलो
सर, 5 किलो न्यूटन।
पुली का वेट नहीं, क्वेश्चन में ये नहीं बोला है कि पुली का वेट 5 किलो। क्वेश्चन में ये बोला है कि उस पुली से एक 5 किलो न्यूटन का डाउनवर्ड लोड पास कर रहा है। कहां पे बोला है कि पुली का वेट दिया है 5 किलो न्यूटन? क्वेश्चन में ये बोला गया है कि उस पुली से एक 5 किलो न्यूटन का वर्टिकल लोड नीचे की तरफ पास हो रहा है। कहीं पे तो ये बोला नहीं गया है कि पुली का कुछ लोड है, ठीक है?
नहीं सर।
पुली का डायमीटर भी कहीं पे दिया नहीं गया है। कहीं पे दिया है पुली का डायमीटर कितना है या कितने रेडियस का पुली है? नहीं दिया गया है। पुली का डायमीटर भी कहीं नहीं दिया गया है और कहीं पे ये नहीं बोला गया है कि दैट दिस पुली इज ऑफ से सम एक्स काइंड ऑफ वेट। दैट मींस आई कैन नेग्लेक्ट दिस पुली। पुली का कुछ वेट दिया ही नहीं गया है, पुली का कुछ डायमीटर दिया ही नहीं गया है। दैट मींस आई कैन नेग्लेक्ट दिस पुली। इफ यू नेग्लेक्ट दिस पुली, if you neglect this pulley, then this downward load of 5 kilonewton will exactly act through this point. यहां से एक्ट करेगा कि नहीं करेगा?
यस सर।
यहां से एक्ट करेगा, फाइन, ओके। सो इफ दिस इज दैट स्मॉल होल, फ्रॉम दिस पर्टिकुलर होल माय 5 किलो न्यूटन वेट विल एक्ट, फाइन। ये हो गया इसका एफबीडी। एंड see this wire which is attached with this pulley through the beam is exerting some tension, and that tension is again 5 kilonewton, fine. So this is that tension. If this is your wire, if this is your wire, fine, this is your tension in the wire. Tension T is equal to 5 kilonewton. Tension T is equal to 5 kilonewton. Fine, this distance is given to you. This distance is given to you, and it is how much? It is 1500 mm. 1500, and this distance is 500 mm. That means this particular distance is 500 mm. This is the entire FBD of this problem. क्या क्लियर है FBD? कोई डाउट है किसी को FBD में?
नो सर।
ओके, अब इस क्वेश्चन में दो लोड एक्ट हो रहा है. वन लोड इज एक्टिंग वर्टिकली डाउनवर्ड 5 किलो न्यूटन, अनदर लोड इज नथिंग बट द टेंशन व्हिच इज एक्टिंग ऑन द स्ट्रिंग 5 किलो न्यूटन. तो अब आप क्या मुझे इस एफबीडी को देख के बोल सकते हो कि इस पर्टिकुलर पूरे प्रॉब्लम में क्या हो रहा है? बेंडिंग हो रहा है, या टॉर्शन हो रहा है, या टेंशन, या और दिस बॉडी इज सब्जेक्टेड टू टेंशन, और दिस बॉडी इज सब्जेक्टेड टू कंप्रेशन. क्या हो रहा है? कैंटिलीवर बीम क्या हो रहा है? ड्यू टू दिस लोड व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन द कैंटिलीवर बीम?
सर बेंडिंग होगा।
Yes, if you see, due to this vertical load 5 kilonewton as well as this horizontal force of 5 kilonewton, bending will occur in this particular problem, that is in this particular beam along this fixed end, along this fixed end. कैसे होगा? अब this vertical 5 kilonewton into 1500 एक बेंडिंग क्रिएट करेगा. 5 किलो न्यूटन इंटू 1500 एक बेंडिंग क्रिएट करेगा, और दूसरा बेंडिंग क्रिएट करेगा दिस 5 किलो न्यूटन हॉरिजॉन्टल फोर्स इंटू दिस वर्टिकल डिस्टेंस 500. ठीक है, तो एक बेंडिंग मोमेंट हुआ आपका 5 इंटू 500, and the second bending moment will be 5 into 1500. क्या ये क्लियर है? क्या ये क्लियर है?
Yes, sir.
अब जो 5 into 1500 है, 5 into जो 1500 है, क्या मान लो मैं इसको बोल देता हूं पॉइंट ए और इसको बोल देता हूं पॉइंट बी. 5 इंटू 1500 क्या पॉइंट ए पे एक्ट करेगा? क्या बेंडिंग मोमेंट पॉइंट ए पे 5 इंटू 1500 होगा? यस और नो? दिस वर्टिकल 5, this vertical load 5 into this horizontal distance 1500, will it be the bending moment at point A? Yes or no?
Yes.
No. कैसे yes?
Yes, sir. No.
अगर yes है तो ये जो वर्टिकल लोड है इसका लाइन ऑफ एक्शन तो ए से पास कर रहा है, इसका लाइन ऑफ एक्शन तो ए से पास कर रहा है. अगर आपके पास कोई बॉडी है, ठीक है, आपको निकालना है कि ये बॉडी का पॉइंट ए पे कितना मोमेंट है, तो अगर पॉइंट ए से ही अगर आपका एक फोर्स पास करे से 5 न्यूटन, ठीक है, तो परपेंडिकुलर डिस्टेंस कौन सा लोगे आप? नहीं ले सकते हो ना. हाँ, ऐसा हो सकता है कि अगर ये फोर्स इधर से पास करे इस एंड से 5 into this particular length, then you can find out, yes, this 5 into this particular length will be the bending moment at point A. But when the line of action of force passes through that particular point where I need to find out the bending moment, how I can calculate? I cannot calculate. So that means at point A, bending moment will be this horizontal force 5 kilonewton into vertical distance 500. क्या ये बात समझ में आया? हेलो,
Yes, sir.
बाकी लोगों को समझ में आया? At point A, bending moment will be the horizontal force 5 kilonewton into this vertical distance 500. ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so see, bending moment, see, this is point B and this is point A. So at point B, bending moment is this 5 kilonewton into this 500 mm into this 500, which is 2500 into 10 to the power 3 Newton millimeter. This is that bending moment. Similarly, bending moment at A will be how much? It will be this horizontal force 5 kilonewton into vertical distance 500 mm plus the vertical force 5 kilonewton into horizontal distance 1500 mm. क्या क्लियर हुआ ये बात? This will be bending moment at point A. Horizontal force 5 kilonewton into vertical distance 500 plus the vertical force 5 kilonewton into horizontal distance 1500. This will be your bending moment at point A. क्या ये क्लियर है? हेलो,
यस सर.
बाकी लोग क्लियर है?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Okay. So bending moment at A comes out to be 10,000 into 10 to the power 3 Newton millimeter, and bending moment at B comes out to be 2500 into 10 to the power 3 Newton millimeter. I can draw the bending moment diagram. This is the bending moment diagram. This is 2500 into 10 to the power 3, and this is 10,000 into 10 to the power 3, and in between the variation will be a straight line because there is no other load. Fine. Now अब आप जो डिजाइन करोगे ये बीम, what you need to do, you need to find out the value of W and value of D. That means you are ultimately finding out the dimensions of the beam. That means you are designing the beam. So अगर जब आप डिजाइन करोगे, फाइन, तो डिजाइन करते समय आप क्या चाहोगे कि इस बीम पे मैक्सिमम बेंडिंग हो या मिनिमम बेंडिंग हो? हेलो, हेलो,
Yes, sir.
यस
what
सर.
you want in your problem? You want maximum bending should occur or minimum bending should occur? Means the bending moment should be maximum or minimum? Because due to this bending moment, bending stress will be generated, and that bending stress will be given by sigma is equal to m into y by I. So while designing, what you want, your stress should be maximum or minimum? क्या होना चाहिए आपका स्ट्रेस? मैक्सिमम होना चाहिए या मिनिमम होना चाहिए?
मैक्सिमम.
आप मैक्सिमम के लिए डिजाइन करोगे, क्योंकि अगर मैक्सिमम के लिए आपका डिजाइन सेफ है, देन मिनिमम के लिए तो सेफ होगा ही होगा. अगर सिग्मा मैक्सिमम हुआ तो एम भी मैक्सिमम होना, एम को भी मैक्सिमम होना पड़ेगा. अगर सिग्मा मैक्सिमम हुआ तो एम को भी मैक्सिमम होना पड़ेगा. एम कहां पे मैक्सिमम है? इन दिस problem I can see that maximum bending moment is occurring at point A. So I have to design this problem for point A because point A will be the critical point. Point A से ही सबसे पहले टूटेगा आपका बीम, क्योंकि यहाँ पे स्ट्रेस ज्यादा है, यहाँ पे बेंडिंग सबसे ज्यादा हो रहा है, इसीलिए मैं जो बेंडिंग स्ट्रेस यहाँ पे कैलकुलेट करूंगा दैट आई विल कैलकुलेट ओनली फॉर पॉइंट ए, नॉट फॉर पॉइंट बी, बिकॉज पॉइंट बी इज नॉट द क्रिटिकल पॉइंट, पॉइंट ए इज माय क्रिटिकल पॉइंट. Why? Because at point A maximum bending is happening, maximum stress will be maximum, and always we need to design for maximum stress, because if your design is safe for maximum stress, it will automatically will be safe for remaining all other stress values lesser than that of the maximum stress value. Is it clear? कोई doubt?
No, sir.
Fine. So I understood that I have to calculate the bending stress at point A, which is nothing but bending moment at point A into y by I. Bending moment at point A already we have calculated, into y is what? Y is the distance, half of the distance from the neutral axis. This dash dot dash line is my neutral axis, so half distance will be d by 2. So this value of y is d by 2. What is I? I is moment of inertia. Since the cross section is rectangle, moment of inertia about this neutral axis, which is ixx, is nothing but this w into d cube divided by 12. So this w into d cube by 12, w into, we in the question it has been given to you that d by w is equal to 2, or d is equal to 2 times of w. So in place of d you can replace 2w to the power 3. If you solve it, you will get the value of I to be 2 by 3 w to the power 4. Substitute this value of I as well as the value of bending moment at point A and the value of y, that is d by 2, in this expression. When you substitute, you will get the value of maximum bending stress, which is at point A, is how much? 15 into 10 to the power 6 by w cube. क्या यहाँ तक क्लियर है? Bending maximum bending stress at point A is 15 into 10 to the power 6 by w cube. क्या यहाँ तक क्लियर है?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now this is the maximum stress. This is the maximum stress. Fine. But the entire object is made up of brittle material, which is cast iron, whose ultimate strength is given to you. So इस particular पूरे problem का एक खुद का कुछ maximum stress होगा. That will be how much? That is the maximum permissible stress. That will be SUT by factor of safety, because we know that factor of safety is failure stress by allowable stress. Here the failure stress will be ultimate stress, because material is brittle, divided by allowable stress, and that we have to find it out, and that allowable stress value will be equal to which value? Will be equal to the designed allowable stress value of the problem, which is nothing but maximum bending stress at point A. So let us find it out. The maximum permissible stress value, that is SUT by FOS. SUT is 200 divided by FOS is given in the problem 2.5. So maximum permissible bending stress is 80 Newton per millimeter square. Now this maximum value of permissible bending stress I have to equate with the maximum value of the bending stress of the problem. From the problem we came to know that maximum bending stress will occur at point A, whose bending stress value is given to be 15 into 10 to the power 6 by w cube. So equate this sigma BA with this maximum value of permissible stress, that is 80. So 80 is equal to 15 into 10 to the power 6 by w cube. If you solve it, you get the value of w to be 57.23 mm in order to keep the design safe, I am taking little bit higher value, that is 60 mm. So the value of D will be 2 times of 60 or 2 times of 57.23, which is 114.47 mm. If you take a little bit higher value, that means if you multiply this D with 60, 2 with 60, you will get 120 mm. So this is your final required dimension of the problem. That means if you make the width of the beam to be 60 mm and depth of the beam to be 120 mm, your beam will be safe. Until the maximum ultimate strength, until the maximum stress reaches this 200 Newton per millimeter square. Is it clear this problem? क्या कोई डाउट है किसी को इस प्रॉब्लम में?
नो सर.
फाइन. तो बेसिकली हमको करना क्या है, मैं आपको एक जस्ट शॉर्ट में बता देता हूँ. इन थ्योरी ऑफ फेलियर फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई द प्रॉब्लम. मुझे पहले प्रॉब्लम को समझना पड़ेगा. फिर प्रॉब्लम को देख के देन यू हैव टू डिसाइड दैट वेदर इन दिस प्रॉब्लम व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, whether only the entire problem is subjected to tensile stress or compressive stress or combination of tensile and bending or combination of tensile bending and torsion. Accordingly you have to use the design equations. अब उसके बाद आपको चेक करना पड़ेगा कि क्रिटिकल मेंबर कौन सा है आपके मशीन में, किस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट पे स्ट्रेस ज्यादा है, किस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट पे स्ट्रेस कम है. जहां पे स्ट्रेस कम है वहां पे डिजाइन करने का कोई फायदा नहीं है, क्योंकि अगर आप मैक्सिमम स्ट्रेस्ड पॉइंट के लिए डिजाइन करोगे किसी भी बॉडी में, ठीक है, तो उसके नीचे जितना भी स्ट्रेस उस बॉडी पे लगेगा उसके लिए डिजाइन हमेशा सेफ रहेगा. तो हमने यहाँ पे वही किया, हमने पहले ये इसका इस प्रॉब्लम का क्या किया, एफबीडी बनाया. देन फ्रॉम दैट एफबीडी वी कंक्लूड दैट ओनली the entire problem is subjected to bending stress. So in order to find out the value of bending stress, what I did, first we calculated the value of bending moment. We can see that there are two portions. One portion is this particular portion, critical portion for this problem, and another portion is this particular problem, because this body can break either from the fixed end or from this end. So what I will do is that I will calculate the bending moment at this particular point and at this particular point. Then we will check that at which point the bending moment is maximum. That will be the critical point. So we came to know that at point A bending moment is maximum. So point A will be subjected to maximum stress. If I design the entire problem for the maximum stress region, the entire problem will be safe for lesser values of this maximum stress. So after calculating bending moment, I calculated the maximum bending stress at that particular point, which I equated it with the maximum permissible bending stress of the problem. By how I found it out? I found it out by the help of this particular value. Fine. And from that value, I came to know that the width of the beam will be this much and depth of the beam will be this much. ठीक है, क्लियर हुआ प्रॉब्लम? हेलो हेलो, प्रॉब्लम क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Okay. With this, I end the class over here. We will again meet on Thursday. We will try to solve some more typical problems. After that, we will end this module over here. उसके बाद हम लोग third module चालू करेंगे. Fine. Okay. If you have given your attendance, then you can leave the meeting. Thank you.